Representative Bonamici. Next, I'd like to recognize Representative Ramirez from Illinois.
Thank you, Congresswoman Jayapal. I really appreciate you hosting this shadow hearing and all of the ones that you've done prior. I want to move in to a conversation with you, Ms. Voigt. You mentioned that the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, which Kristi Noem eliminated in March 2025, investigated civil rights violations and abuses by DHS officials and contractors, including inside immigration detention centers. So, Ms. Voigt, can you confirm there were at least 550 ongoing investigations at the CRCL before this administration gutted the office?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah. And Ms. Voigt, do you have a sense of how many of the CRCL investigations are related to detainee abuses or abuses in the detention centers?
I don't have an exact number, but I will say complaints related to detention were a large amount of the complaints we received and a large amount of the complaints we opened.
Yeah. And it's no surprise, we just heard from Ms. Pierre what your husband is experiencing every single day in detention. Ms. Voigt, were any of the investigations regarding contractors related to abuses in detention centers?
I don't have a number, but yes, I think complaints were, contractors are who are operating the facilities across the board. ICE is only sometimes even in the facilities themselves. And so a lot of the complaints we received about conditions were either directly or tangentially related to the contractor's actions.
Thank you for that. And we know since DHS's inception, immigration detention has been dehumanizing. You were talking about some of the recommendations that were made prior to gutting the office itself. Detention facilities have been unsafe, they've been inappropriate and inadequate. Even with Congress's attempt to provide oversight through the establishment of the now dismantled Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties within DHS, these abuses have not just persisted, we know they have now absolutely taken over detention. It's unsafe and inappropriate civil detention system managed by ICE, but as you were just mentioning, in many cases, they're not even in the room, in the building themselves, because they're subcontracting to all of their buddies that they have now contracted to because they gave campaign contributions to our own president. I find it unacceptable to see the levels of death in those institutions, the inadequate inspections and oversight of detention facilities. We can't even get into these detention facilities, and the discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity in the placement of detainees in immigration detention facilities. Look, I want to say this, and I said this yesterday in committee. As a member of Committee on Homeland Security, I'm clear that DHS has to be held accountable for the unconscionable failures we are seeing every single day. They've never demonstrated a commitment to our rights, to due process, to the rule of law, or human dignity. Frankly, for Trump, for Noem, and all of the authoritarians and criminals in this administration, detention seems to be just another means to extract every single bit of profit they can from us and for themselves and their billionaire bosses or campaign donors. We know that more than 62% of immigration detention centers are managed by private prison companies like CoreCivic and GEO Group that donated millions and millions of dollars to Donald Trump's campaign. They knew that mandatory detention paired with Trump's mass deportation campaign would be really good for business, and it has been extremely good for their business. So as I'm wrapping up, I just want to say, as long as they profit, they don't care if we're sick, we're starving, we're dying in detention, and we have to continue to do these shadow hearings every single day and demand the oversight that we have to do. Thank you. With that, I yield back.